Some people have endless energy for their goals, while others burn out by lunch. The difference isn't genetics or age, it's understanding. The Japanese have this understanding, Yamato-Damashii, the spirit that creates sustainable power for any goal. It's how Musashi won 60 duels without ever being too tired to fight. How earthquake survivors find energy to rebuild entire lives from nothing. How masters work on their craft for 70 years without burning out. In this video, I'll show you 5 energy drains you probably don't know exist, and 5 ways to transform them into power sources, starting with the mental trap that steals your morning energy. Part 1. Ganbaru. The Japanese have 2 different words for effort. Ganbaru means persevering with force, pushing through, giving your all. In Japan, this is honorable, essential even, but only when the moment demands it. Then there's Gaman. It means enduring without complaint, patience under pressure, sustaining without drama. Both are virtues in Japan. The problem is you only know one of them. You live in constant Ganbaru mode. Every email gets full force. Every meeting gets maximum energy. Every task gets the same intensity as a life or death battle. The samurai knew better. They used Ganbaru for the killing stroke, not for walking to the battlefield. When Tokugawa Ieyasu laid siege to Osaka Castle, he didn't assault the walls every day. He waited, let time do the work. When he finally struck, the defenders had already weakened themselves through months of tension. He used Gaman to set up one moment of Ganbaru. That's strategy. The Hagakure teaches this balance. The warrior who treats every moment as battle will have no strength when true battle comes. Real samurai knew most of life is Gaman. Waiting, preparing, enduring. Save Ganbaru for when the sword must strike. Think about master swordsman Yagyu Munenori. He served 3 shoguns across decades. His family's teachings emphasized effortless movement. Not lazy, not weak, but movement that doesn't waste, like water finding the easiest path down a mountain. Maximum result from minimum effort. Here's what's killing you. You Ganbaru, your morning routine. Ganbaru, your commute. Ganbaru, your workout. Ganbaru, your work. By noon, you've spent the energy meant for a week. And for what? Did any of those things need your maximum force? When samurai trained, they didn't go full power every swing. They'd practiced the same cut 10,000 times. Smooth, controlled, sustainable. They saved Ganbaru for the test cutting, the real moment. Everything else was Gaman, building skill without burning out. Look at your yesterday. Count how many times you went full force on something that needed half. The West turned Ganbaru into grind culture and forgot Gaman exists. Japan uses both, one for sprinting, one for marathons. You're trying to sprint a marathon. No wonder you're dying by mile 3. Tomorrow you wake up with a choice. Use Ganbaru all day on everything and collapse by evening, or use Gaman for the journey and save Ganbaru for the moments that matter. Most people never learn the difference. They're too busy being busy. But here's the cruel part. Even if you balance Ganbaru and Gaman perfectly, you'll still exhaust yourself if you don't understand the next principle. Because right now, you're splitting your force in 100 directions. The samurai had a term for why this guarantees defeat. Part 2. Ikki-Tousen. 1 force, 1,000 results. In feudal Japan, a single samurai could hold a bridge against hundreds, not through superhuman strength, through positioning, through choosing where to apply force. The Takeda clan had a famous strategy. Their cavalry didn't charge everywhere like European knights. They studied the battlefield for hours, found the one point where breaking through would collapse everything. Then they hit that one point with everything. Battles ended in minutes instead of days. Think about Japanese martial arts. In Kendo, you learn 1 strike for your first year, just 1. Men, the head strike, thousands of repetitions. Western students get frustrated. They want variety. But after that year, their 1 strike can break through any defense because it carries the weight of 10,000 practices. The same principle built the katana. European swords tried to do everything: cut, thrust, block. The katana does one thing: cuts. But it cuts through anything because all engineering serves that one purpose. No compromises, no distractions. Here's what this means for your energy. When you split focus between 10 projects, each gets 1/10 of your power. But energy doesn't divide cleanly. There's switching cost, setup time, mental residue. 10 projects don't get 10% each. They get 5%. The rest burns up in transition. The tea master Sen no Rikyu revolutionized an entire culture by focusing on one question for 40 years. How do you serve tea with perfect grace? Not 100 questions. 1 question. You know this is true. Your best work comes from undivided attention, your deepest satisfaction from completed mastery. But modern life pulls you toward surface coverage. Ikki-Tousen says, choose depth. 1 deep well gives water, 100 shallow holes give nothing. The principle applies everywhere. In conversation, fully listening beats half listening while planning responses. In learning, mastering fundamentals beats collecting techniques. In work, completing one thing beats progressing 10 things. But here's where it gets interesting. Even with perfect focus, you'll still fail if you don't understand how mastery actually develops. The Japanese mapped 3 stages everyone must pass through, and most people get stuck in the first one forever. Part 3, Shu-Ha-Ri, why you're stuck in eternal beginner mode. New methods, new systems, new teachers. Here's why nothing sticks and why you're exhausted by noon. Shu-Ha-Ri. Shu means protect. Ha means break. Ri means leave. Your energy problems come from being stuck in the wrong stage. In Shu, you copy exactly. Follow the rules. Protect the form. This is where everyone starts. It's supposed to be temporary, like scaffolding on a building, necessary for construction, meant to come down. But here's what kills your energy. In Shu, everything requires conscious effort. Every decision drains you. Every action needs thought. Watch someone learning to drive. Death grip on the wheel, checking mirrors obsessively, exhausted after 20 minutes. That's Shu energy drain. Now watch a veteran driver on a cross-country trip, 12 hours behind the wheel, still fresh. Not because they're stronger, because they've moved through Ha to Ri. Driving became unconscious competence, no energy leak from constant decision-making. In Ha, you understand why the rules exist, so you adapt them. The calligraphy student stops counting brushstrokes and starts feeling the flow. The master carpenter stops measuring every cut and knows by sound when it's right. You're not copying anymore. You're creating within the framework. In Ri, you become the principle itself. No rules needed. The master sushi chef Jiro doesn't think about rice temperature or fish preparation. After 60 years, his hands know. Customers say watching him work is like watching meditation. No effort visible, just flow. That's why he has more energy at 95 than his apprentices at 25. Here's your problem. You restart Shu with every new thing. New workout program, back to conscious incompetence. New productivity system, back to decision fatigue. New diet, back to constant thinking about food. You're living in perpetual day one. No wonder you're drained. The energy math is simple. Shu burns maximum fuel for minimum result. Every action costs because every action requires thought. Ha burns less because patterns form. Ri burns nothing because mastery is unconscious. Masters don't get tired doing what they've mastered. It gives them energy. Think about something you've truly mastered. Maybe typing. Maybe cooking a specific dish. Maybe your work commute. When you first learned, it exhausted you. Now it's automatic. No drain. That's the power of moving through the stages. But you keep yourself in eternal Shu, switching systems before mastery, chasing novelty over depth. That's Shu addiction. The dopamine hit of starting fresh while paying the energy cost of eternal beginner. Tomorrow you'll face the same choice. Start another new system and reset to Shu, or go deeper in one path and move toward Ha. One guarantees exhaustion, one promises energy. Most people choose exhaustion because starting is sexier than deepening. The masters understood something else. Even with perfect mastery, there's an energy drain that destroys everything. Part 4, Makoto, the energy leak you can't see. You feel drained by people, work, life itself, not because they're exhausting, because you're performing for them. The Japanese have a word for what's killing you. Makoto. It means truth, sincerity, authenticity, not in some soft way, in the most brutal sense. It's the difference between being and pretending, between living your truth and acting out a lie. That gap is where all your energy disappears. The samurai understood this through combat. The Bushido Code says it plain. When one has made a decision to kill a person, even if it will be very difficult to succeed by advancing straight ahead, it will not do to think about doing it in a long, roundabout way. This is about the exhaustion of indirect action, of pretending your way through life instead of being direct. Think about your yesterday. How many times did you say yes when you meant no? Smile when you felt nothing, pretend interest in conversations that bored you? Each fake moment burns energy. Not because lying is hard, because maintaining the performance is exhausting. Modern Japan knows this struggle intimately. They have 2 words, hon and tatame. Hon is your true feelings. Tatame is the face you show society. Everyone has both. But when the gap grows too wide, people collapse. Karoshi, death from overwork, isn't really about work. It's about the energy cost of pretending everything's fine when it's not. Watch a traditional craftsman at work, a potter who's made bowls for 40 years. They don't pretend the clay is something else. Don't force shapes that don't want to form. They work with truth, the clay's truth, their hand's truth. That's why they can work all day without fatigue. No performance, just being. Now watch yourself in a meeting, nodding at bad ideas, laughing at unfunny jokes, pretending enthusiasm for projects you hate. Your body language says engaged. Your soul says trapped. That split burns more energy than any physical labor. You're an actor who never gets off stage. The swordsmith Masamune had students who tried to impress him with elaborate techniques. They exhausted themselves creating flashy blades. He made simple ones, perfect ones. When asked his secret, he said, "I don't try to make the blade something it's not. I reveal what it already is. No performance, no pretense, just truth." Here's what's happening inside you. Every false word creates tension. Every fake smile requires muscle control. Every pretense needs memory. What lie did I tell? What mask am I wearing? Your brain burns glucose maintaining these performances. By lunch, you're running on empty, not from work, from acting. The Zen archer doesn't pretend to hit the target. They align with truth, body, bow, target, breath. One truthful release. Arrow finds home. No effort because no falsehood. Compare that to your approach. Pretending confidence, forcing outcomes, fighting reality, exhausting yourself against what is. Even how samurai wrote death poems shows this. Before battle, they'd write their truth, not for glory, for clarity. Because entering combat with pretense meant death. Only truth had enough power to survive. They couldn't afford the energy leak of performance. You know exactly when this hits. Sunday Night Dread isn't about Monday's work. It's about Monday's performance. Having to be someone you're not. Say things you don't mean. Pretend caring about things that don't matter. The exhaustion starts before you even begin. Tomorrow, you'll put on the mask again, unless you choose Makoto. Unless you decide the energy cost of pretense is too high. Most won't. They're addicted to approval that comes from performance. They'd rather be liked and exhausted than truthful and energized. But here's the final piece. Even if you live with perfect truth, there's one more energy secret the Japanese discovered. It's about what happens after you act. Part 5. Zanshin, the awareness that multiplies energy. Zanshin means remaining mind. It's the space between ending one thing and starting another, where energy either multiplies or vanishes. You've been deleting this space your entire life. In Kyudo, Japanese archery, masters hit targets blindfolded, not through magic aim, through complete Zanshin. They discovered that the arrow's path is determined more by the follow-through than the release. The moment after matters more than the moment itself. Here's what actually happens in your body. When you complete an action with full awareness, your nervous system releases what scientists now call the completion response. Dopamine, serotonin, energy restoration. But only if you stay present for it. Rush away and you get nothing. The samurai knew this through death. In real combat, warriors who celebrated too early died. Those who maintained Zanshin, total awareness after the strike, survived. Not metaphorically, literally. The space after action determined who lived. Japanese calligraphy masters demonstrate this daily. Watch them finish a character. The brush lifts, but the energy continues. They hold that space. Let the ink settle, let the moment breathe, then they move. Each character energizes them for the next. By the 1,000th character, they're more alive than when they started. You do the opposite. Send the email, next. Finish the call, next. Complete the rep, next. You're so addicted to motion, you miss the energy refund that comes from stillness, like leaving money on the table after every transaction. The neuroscience is clear. Task switching without Zanshin creates what researchers call attention residue. Part of your mind stays with the previous task, bleeding focus, bleeding energy. Japanese efficiency comes from clean transitions, full stop, full start, no residue. Even breathing shows this principle. Western exercise teaches inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Japanese martial arts teach inhale, exhale, pause. That pause is Zanshin. It's where the body actually absorbs the oxygen. Rush past it and you're just moving air. Tomorrow, try this experiment. After you complete anything, an email, a conversation, a thought, count to 3 before moving on. Feel the completion. Let the energy return. Watch how different your day becomes. Not from doing less, from receiving more. This is the final piece. Gaman teaches sustainable effort. Ikki-Tousen teaches concentration. Shu-Ha-Ri teaches progression. Makoto teaches authenticity. But Zanshin is what transforms all of them from concepts into endless energy. It's the multiplier that changes everything. The core message is that your exhaustion is not random. It's the result of specific invisible energy leaks. Energy isn't about generating more, it's about losing less. The Japanese have a saying, Nana korobi ya oki. Fall down 7 times, get up 8. But they don't mean what you think, they mean get up differently, with understanding, with conservation. with wisdom about where your energy actually goes. Most will read this and change nothing. They're comfortable with exhaustion. It's familiar. It's what everyone else does. It requires no courage. Some will try one principle, see results, get excited, then slip back into old patterns when life gets hard. Better than nothing. Not enough for transformation. A few will recognize the truth. Energy mastery isn't optional if you want an exceptional life. These few will study these principles like the samurai studied combat. Apply them like craftsmen apply their art. They'll join the ranks of those who seem superhuman but are simply not stupid about energy. The knowledge is now yours. The same knowledge that built legends and empires. That turns ordinary humans into masters who work with joy into their 90s. Use it or don't, but never again wonder why you're tired. You know exactly why, and exactly what to do about it. The only question is whether you will.